G'day internet, it's Dan, and I need a bench, so I'm going to try and build one. So the previous owners left this behind, which I've been using as a bench, but this is in the way, and it's tiny, and I want to get rid of it eventually. So ideally, I want to build a bench that goes in here, comes out far enough so I can bring the car in, we don't run into it, but I also want the wheels on it so I can roll it out into the middle when I need to work on it. So that's the plan. I've only got two saws, a handsaw and a jigsaw, and then I'm going to cut it. So I need a power saw, which means new tools. Let's go.
I went with the Ryobi 254mm dual bevel sliding miter saw, which as you can see only just fit into my boot, so I had to make a second trip to Bunnings to get the wood.
Alright, so for the tabletop, I use a bunch of these. These are 90mm wide. They're about 45 thick. I said 660 for the width, but that's 7 and a bit of these. So I'm just going to make it 8 of these, which is going to be about 720 wide. And that's for the tabletop, whereas the base is still going to be that 660. Just means I'm going to be able to push it right up against the wall instead of hitting the skirting board. So I use my bench top, and then I'm going to butt them up next to each other, just like this, glue them up, and then while that's drying, we can start on the frame.
All the YouTube videos I watch continue to say you can never have enough clamps. And I knew I wouldn't, but I could have easily done with twice as many. Also, the top was never going to be flat because I don't have the tools to make it flat, but I tried to clamp 2 other pieces to the ends to try and even them out a bit.
Righty. While that dries, I'll get started on the frame. First step of the frame is I need 4 legs. That's how many legs the bench has. I'm going to butt them like this. I need 4 like that, screws in the back, and we'll cut them all to 900 long.
Trap for young players, I realised after cutting everything that I need to adjust the saw blade slightly so that it makes proper 90-degree cuts.
That's 4 legs. Let's screw them together.
Here I used a separate piece of wood to give me something to press down onto while I was screwing the bits together. I also pre-drilled everything before screwing to avoid splitting.
Then I'm going to cut 4 of these puppies to 570, which is 66 minus the width of 2 of these. That way, the overall whole thing will be 660 wide. I need 4, 2 at the bottom, and 2 at the top for the top of the center.
I was able to use the stop on the saw legs to make sure all of these bits were the same length. Then I laid everything out on the floor, which eventually became the top, and started screwing it together. You can see that I didn't measure the screw holes very well, and I missed the wood when I drilled in. Righto, so I'm going to cut the rest of these bits to 570 so that we can slide them in there like that. One here, one there, and then also where the shelf's going to be along here. So with these offcuts I've got from the 570, I'm going to cut them down to 150. That way I can slot it in there like that, or also like that, and then I can sit the caster on top. So it's got something to screw in on all four corners. I marked out where I wanted the cross pieces to go and make sure everything was even, and then screwed them in.
So that's the top done. I've only got 2 screws left. So through the power of editing, I'm going to get a new box of screws. Like that. New packet. Actually, I bought 2 packets because I obviously severely underestimated how many screws I was going to need. So, yeah, back to it. Alright, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to finish the bench without the wheels, and then I'm going to get some bigger screws that don't fall through there. That is so satisfying. The fact that it hasn't fallen down, that really pleases me.
Here I stacked up some of the offcuts to make sure all of the parts for the shelf to sit on were level.
That is everything but the shelf, the top and the wheels. That's what they would call the frame, I suppose.
Well, I'm exhausted. I'm going to continue to let the top dry overnight. It's probably dry now, but I'm exhausted, like I said. Tomorrow, first thing, I'll cut that. I'll use a jigsaw for that. See you tomorrow. And just like that, it's the next day. Now we did have a little bit of an issue overnight. We had a lot of rain, which was very welcome, but we had a lot of rain. And this door, it's gone on the list. It doesn't like the water, and it's water all over the floor. I came out at one point to check, and it started to attack the legs of the bench. So what I did was I quickly bolted the wheels on. But as you can see, it's nice and sturdy. It's got the wheels on. You can unlock them somehow. Wheels around. Beautiful. Fantastic. Now, we need to put the shelf on the bottom. So, I need to work out how big the bottom is, jigsaw out some corners, and hopefully it'll slot in. Hopefully. Right, so you can see here, this leg comes in, then there's a square, and then it comes back out again. What I've done is I've replicated up here, in, and like this. So I've got to cut this bit out on all 4 corners. tried to use the bench top as a straight edge for my jigsaw to cut along, but it kept wandering, so it would have just been better to do it freehand like I did here for the corners. Boom! Then I pre-drilled all the holes and screwed the shelf down. But last thing to do is put the top on. Quick note to self, peel all of the barcodes off the wood. So I set out to build a bench, and I'd say that's a bench. It's to keep it off the ground, and it's going to save me from being on the ground the next time I build something. That's pretty solid. Alright, on to the next job. Being my first project, and the fact that I'm limited on tools, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. But I managed to get it done with a miter saw, a jigsaw and a drill. It's definitely going to serve its purpose, but if you've got any tips, let me know in the comments. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, remember to give all your projects a red hot go, and I'll see you on the next one.